What's up? It's the Gigabyte Grizzly Brohema, and this is a messed up time we live in, so I need you all to do me a favor. Wear your mask. Like this, or like this, or like this, or like this, like this. Wear your mask. It's for your safety and mine. If I see you without one, I'm gonna kick a mask onto your face. Got it?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. It is Thursday night once again, and here we are for the Fight Underground Fight Council meeting live on Facebook and across all of our social media platforms. I am the fight director, Paul Atlas, and the head of the Fight Council as well. We have got a jam-packed show tonight. A lot of guests, a lot to talk about. First thing I want to do is I would like to bring back and welcome back to the Fight Council meetings. He's been absent for quite some time, but we've got him back here again. Cato is with us. Cato, welcome back to the Fight Council.
Thank you very much. Let's see if I can make everybody in Western Pennsylvania hate me again. I'm feeling controversial once again, so let's see what happens.
You gotta love it. You gotta love it. Also, tonight we are introducing a new member of our Fight Council. He is a former champion of many different promotions. He is a well-respected veteran. Welcome to the Fight Council, Darren Smythe. Darren, welcome to the Fight Council. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to do what I do to all our new members. I'm going to ask you to, for those out there who don't know you, tell a little bit about who Darren Smythe is.
Wow. First of all, thank you, Paul. I wasn't sure when I came in how I would be introduced, and you know that I've been a longtime fan of yours, and you were a great mentor to myself and Dash Bennett and the New Era Horsemen at PWX, so I appreciate that greatly. I'm Darren Smythe. I started wrestling in 1999 in West Virginia. When I was of age, I started wrestling in the Pittsburgh area in 2001 with PWX. I was there from 2001 to 2006. I was fortunate enough to hold every championship available to me. A 3-time tag team champion with my man Dash Bennett, and I'm happy to be a part of it. I never thought I would be, but here I am. So thank you, Paul, and thank you everybody else on the Fight Council.
All right, Darren, thank you, and thank you for joining the Fight Council. We have managed to assemble some of the best talent of veteran wrestlers of the past, bringing together the present. To launch into the future, something that is sure to be great. So now we're going to jump right on into it this week. Of course, this past week, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, as we always do, you have saw the showdown and the face-off and aftermath of our showdown between Sam Beal and John Roden, both men making their Fight Underground debuts. Both men highly touted when they came in. And like they say in Fight Underground, it's wins and losses that matters, and only one man can come out the winner, and that is exactly what happened. So I am going to start our roundtable discussion as far as the match and such goes, and I'm going to start welcoming back to the Fight Council. He's usually here every week with us. RPW, let's get your thoughts on the match this week.
What an amazing match that was. It was my first time watching Sam Beal. Dean, you picked a good one. However, Sam needs to focus more on the in-ring than worry about himself. I know he's got a sweet mullet. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. But a mullet's not going to win matches. Dash Bennett, you did a hell of a job with John Roden. I love the fact that you passed down the skull splitter. I think that was a genius move on your part. I've fallen victim to that move many times, and why not have Sam Beal fall victim to that too? So kudos to you on that one. Impressive match. I'm looking forward to seeing what's next for John Roden.
All right, thank you, RPW. Real quickly, though, I had my notes a little out of order, and I do apologize. A couple things I did want to mention tonight. Our condolences from everyone here at Fight Underground going out to Council Member Crusher Hansen. Crusher lost his mother recently. Again, the condolences of everyone on the Fight Council and everyone within Fight Underground. And also, I would like to wish a speedy recovery to two members of our Fight Council, Brandon Kay and Big, who both had successful surgeries this past week. So hopefully those guys are up and running around here real soon. Now back to the matter at hand. Bubba Brewer, he is here with us again this week. Bubba, the match, Sam Beal, John Roden, debuted this week. Both guys have been around. Let's get your thoughts.
I was impressed. It's a shame that the Juggernaut is with Dash, but I couldn't take my eyes off this match. That Sam Beal, like Potter said, if he would have been more focused, he could have had the upset. Which I think if he keeps focused, I think if Dean gets him focused, he could be a force in Fight Underground. It was a great match. So I was impressed with Sam Beal. So Dash, hats off to you for, it pains me to say that, but I mean, you said what you were going to do and your man did it. So.
All right. Thank you, Bubba Brewer. Cato, I'm going to bring you back in here with us, back to the Fight Council. Let's get your thoughts on this match that we had this week between John Roden and Sam Beal.
Well, I think for me, there's a few things that I right off the top. I think it's Sam Beal is special. Like there's something eye-catching about this guy. I think when he steps into the ring, he's a guy I want to watch. And at the end of the day, this is the wrestling business, and it's not always about your wins and losses. Can you move the meter? To me, Sam Beal moves the meter. He makes me want to tune in to Fight Underground to see what he's going to do. Did he slip on a banana peel and fail at this particular juncture? Yes. But would I want to see him again? Absolutely. A few notes that I have from the match itself. I watched it this afternoon. I watched Sam Beal. There was a particular point in the match where he did a real cocky cover. It didn't look like he was trying hard enough to win the match in my book. To me, guys, if you're watching this, if you're a young guy, always look like you're trying to win the match. Go for the cover, hook that leg hard, look like you're trying to win. I don't know how long Sam Beal's been working. Does anybody have an indication of what that is? How long has he been wrestling? Nobody knows. That's fine. The one thing I always like to see from my guys is pick a body part. Man, work that body part, break a man down, break an arm. Stick to that arm and wear it down. Stick to that back, work it down. Stick to a leg, break it down. It's going to help you long-term, A, look like you know what you're doing, and B, win matches. If a guy can't stand up on that left leg, he can't kick your ass. You know what I mean? Like the one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest. That's one thing I'd like to see out of Sam Beal. As far as John Roden goes, if you want me to pay to see you, man, you got to show me some fire. He was able to pull out a win with that awesome move at the end. It was a cool move. I loved it. And he was able to drive Sam Beal on his head, get that win. But for me, like, you have to have an energy and a feel. Think of every great top star in the business. They have to have that fire and that energy. Where was my fire and my energy? He has one really great move that's going to win him some matches. But beyond that, what makes me pay to see that guy? Winning matches isn't enough to make me pay to see you. To me, you have to bring a different kind of fire. He's got to find a fire that ignites people to pay to see him. And that's my thing right now with what that's not a whitewash of everything John Roden has ever done. It's just a whitewash of this particular match that I watch. Sam Beal, whoo, that guy's magic.
All right, thank you. Expert analysis as always from Cato. Darren Smythe, our newest member to the Fight Council, I'd like to bring you in right now and get your thoughts on this match that we saw this week.
The first thing I thought when I saw this match, honestly, is I was very impressed by both of them. And I'm going to go opposite of what Cato said. I walked away with this match very impressed with John Roden, and never seeing him before, who he put me in mind of as a guy who's come out of the Pittsburgh area, come out of the area, been successful, and that's Shane Taylor. That's who John Roden reminded me of right away in this match. And I thought, if there's I see you shaking your head, but the way he moved in the ring, maybe is there things to work on? But just like when you said with Sam, he's had some things to work on mentally as well. The physical might be there, but if the mind doesn't get there, the matches don't come. You got to have the mind to make the money too. So I was impressed with John Roden. I feel like he has more of that, the fighting spirit, maybe not the flair, but I think if he does some things to maybe get in better shape and to get those things, but I think the sky's the limit with him too. I was very impressed with this match, not having seen everything from Fight Underground. I thought it was a great match, and I thought it was a great introduction for me to see something from the taping. So I was impressed by both of them.
All right, Darren. Thank you very much. Stacy Hunter is with us again this week. Stacy, let's get your thoughts on the match between Sam Bill and John Roden.
I was impressed with both guys, and I'm going to have to agree with Cato here. There was something about Sam Beal that just made me want to watch him in the ring. Taking nothing away from John Roden, I mean, he's a very good wrestler. It disgusts me that he's with Dash and that we have to listen to him gloat over this tonight. But there wasn't anything that made me want to, like, really pay attention. There was no flair. There wasn't – it just – I wasn't drawn to him like I was drawn to Sam. But I think with help from Dean, he'll get focused more and pull out a win next time around.
All right, thank you, Stace. And now we're going to bring in Dean Radford, head of Team Radford, and his man in this match, Sam Beal. You talked a lot about him in the weeks leading up to it. He fell kind of short. I mean, you came up big in the Brohemoth match, but you came up short in the Sam Beal match. Let's hear what you got to say about what happened this past week there, big guy.
Now that I actually have the floor to speak, because we were told to make sure we keep ourselves in line this week. Cato, to answer your question, Sam, I believe, has been wrestling since 2016. And Darren freaking Smythe. What a pleasure it is to finally sit here with you and talk to the man who carried Dash Bennett for years in the tag team circuit. Paul, to answer your question, listen, I said it last week. Now, if you remember when you asked me, I told you. You asked me, who do I think is going to win? And I didn't give you a definitive yes or no. Obviously, hell, I'd love to see my guy walk out of it, but I knew it was going to be a battle. I knew it was going to be a battle because it was two young studs going out there to make a name for themselves. And I feel like when I look at Team Radford, it's like a band of misfits that I got, you know? They might come up short, and they might hold a cell phone up to their ass and, you know, whatever. But the thing that comes down to is, at the end of the day, it isn't about wins or losses. It's about who's going to stand tall. You got to crawl before you can walk. So it was a great match. You can't take anything away from John Roden. Screw you, Dash. You got the win. He did your finisher way better than you've ever done in your life. So good for him. Finally, someone executed it well enough to actually be successful. I am absolutely congratulating John Roden, not Dash Bennett. So with that being said, I think Sam Bill has a great future here with Fight Underground. And Darren, just to comment on what you said, you may have sniffed up a little bit of the bullshit that Dash fed over the years, thinking that he was something along with Shane Taylor, because I don't see that, bud. I don't see that at all. Shane Taylor's a very sick specimen, and that dude is – Sam Bill's good, but Shane Taylor's on a different freaking level. So just throwing that out there. Love you. Glad to have you on the council.
All right. Well, I'm going to highly disagree with Dean Radford on one of his points, and that is that wins and losses don't necessarily matter, because that is exactly what Fight Underground is about. This was not about just putting on a show. This is about becoming the king of the Alpha King division. This is about winning that top prize. So if that's not what you're here for, well, then maybe you shouldn't be here at all. Kid got a little cocky at the end. I'm talking here. I'm talking here. I respectfully disagree with what you're saying, but you got to understand, we've all felt short at least once or twice. In Dash's case, like 100, but we've all fell short a few times in the ring. All right?
got to fall short sometimes. It wasn't a bad match. You can't take anything away from either one of them. But you got to lose to win. And that's only one loss. I guarantee you, Sam Bill will move forward from this. It's not about saying that wins and losses don't matter. I said, you know what? I'll correct myself. That came off wrong. They absolutely freaking matter. This company is all about winning. But it's okay to lose because you'll just climb back up that ladder and smack Dash Bennett in the face. It's okay.
Yeah, well, last time I checked, he wasn't on the active roster either, so he might want to smack an opponent in the face, not Dash Bennett, because he ain't going to get up the ladder by smacking Dash. He's going to get it by beating the fighters in Fight Underground. So, again, the kid wants to get a little cocky. Don't talk about the loss. Kid, you lost, bottom line. And that's what we're here for, to see who's going to get that Alpha King title. And right now, Sam Beal ain't the guy. So, last but not least, of course, we're going to have the man himself, who his man garnished the win. Let's see if he can talk about his fighter and not himself for once. Dash Bennett, come on in.
Well, Paul, I appreciate you saving the best for last in me. I am happier. I'm happier than a pig in shit right now. My guy John Roden won. He did exactly what I said he was going to do, and I think, you don't interrupt me. I stayed quiet through all of that BS you were talking. Now you're going to shut up and listen to me.
Just saying you look like a pig in shit. It's a great analogy.
My man won.
He has a
He did
habit
exactly-
of interrupting people, so, you know.
He did exactly what I said he was going to do, and I think the only thing that brings me joy more than seeing John Roden win is seeing Dean Radford backpedal and make excuses for his guy losing, and that wins and losses don't matter. That's exactly what a loser would say. Dean, why don't you, as you like to say, eat shit.
Who's making excuses? I said they were both good guys. Someone was coming out on top. They're both great young fighters. Like, where was the excuses, Dash? There's no excuse. The kid lost. It is what it is.
Not only did John Roden win, but he went with the strategy that I said he was going to, that everyone knocked last week. You see, John Roden had enough respect to adopt my finisher and use it to win. And Sam Beal can't even get your name right, Dean Bradford.
Listen, I get it. The kid was pissed. He lost. But, again, I didn't say anything bad about John Roden. I gave him props.
Nor should you. There's no reason to. And you know, I'll give you.
I
some
shouldn't
credit.
give John Roden props. But what are you talking about?
I'm gonna give you some props, actually. No, well, not you, because you don't deserve them, but Sam Beal.
Good.
And I said this last week. I'm gonna agree with some of my council members tonight that Sam Beal is something special. I think that he has that it factor, and I was reminded of that in this match. I think that Sam Beal is very special, and he's going to be a major star not only in Fight Underground but in professional wrestling. It's just unfortunate that he had to fight John Roden in the first round.
You sound like a Steelers fan in the fourth quarter who's not on board until they get a touchdown. They think they're going to win. You're bandwagoning, bud. Last week you didn't give a crap about Sam Beal. Now you're going to talk about how good he is? Get out of here.
I gave him props last week too. Maybe
No,
you need to get.
No, you didn't.
Maybe you need to get that shit out of your ears, and maybe you'll hear what I have to say.
Well, when
You
I'm
should start
dealing with
listening to
you
me
every
more,
single
you
week, it's
might
hard
learn
to tell the
something.
shit out of my ears, Dash.
All right, well, we almost got through this without Dash putting himself over and Dean interrupting, but, you know.
I'm sorry,
what can I
Paul.
say?
I'm
What
sorry.
can I say? Yep, there he goes again. But anyway.
You should be.
Last I checked, we were here to put the talent over, not ourselves. But hey, who the fuck am I? Anyway, moving right along. At this point, I want to bring Cato back in to the conversation. Cato is doing some amazing things out in central Pennsylvania with Imagine Wrestling and the Imagine Wrestling Dojo and the seminars that they've been having. Cato, I would like to bring you in right now, and please fill in those who are watching, especially any of the young talent out there who's watching, on exactly what Imagine Wrestling is doing with these seminars.
Well, in 2020, so far, we've had 2 seminars with Ricky Morton. We've had 2 with Dr. Tom Pritchard. We've had Shane Douglas in twice. We had Tom Brandy in. We had Al Snow in for seminars. Boy, I know I'm missing somebody here along the way. Oh, we had Kurt Hawkins in just a few weeks ago from Impact Wrestling. And on January 10th, we're having Dr. Tom back in for a third time. And I can tell you the knowledge that these guys have. Now, I've been at this for 21 years. And I can tell you, even after 21 years, there has not been a single seminar that I haven't taken something away from. These guys are great. Dr. Tom is a personal favorite of mine. Such a great guy. And like I said, our next one is on January 10th. It's at 11 o'clock. It's a Sunday morning. And as long as the Steelers get that bye, the Steelers won't be playing January 10th. So I'm holding my breath for that one. But irregardless, I can tell you that we're trying to improve the wrestling business. We're not making any money on these. Essentially, we've been breaking even on these. And that's our only goal. Like, I mean, any of you guys have known me for a long time. I've always been sort of a guy who wants to leave the wrestling business better than what I came into it. And maybe my voice and my tone hasn't always been the way other people would do it. Other people maybe aren't as critical of the business as what I am when guys don't put in the work that they should. So it is what it is. I am my personality. But for me, here at Imagine, we are trying so hard with all these seminars to improve the business, improve the overall sense of where we're at. And to be perfectly honest, if since I'm always making people mad, I've been disappointed that some of these guys that are in the Pittsburgh area have not been showing up for these seminars. I don't know where you feel like you can't show up for $40 for a seminar with literally the greatest trainer, arguably in the history of the business. Dr. Tom Pritchard trained The Rock, Kurt Angle, all these guys. And guys can't make the 2-hour trip from Pittsburgh to Altoona for these seminars. I mean, it's not a money thing for me. We've been breaking even on all these. I don't care about that. I'm disappointed that guys aren't taking advantage of the opportunity to gain this knowledge because, man, these guys have been great, giving us their time. And I know they're not making a fortune doing this trip to Altoona either. I mean, Dr. Tom is not he's not cashing a big check when he leaves Altoona. He feels the same way I do. He wants to pass along the knowledge that he's gained through a lifetime. And if my knowledge is this much, Dr. Tom's is my screen's not big enough. I mean, that guy has so much to give and so much to teach and is so generous with his time. But we're blessed, man. We're blessed to have this really great facility that we train guys in. We're blessed to have a core group of guys that are working really hard and trying to learn the business the right way. And, this is a good opportunity, guys. We're talking about Sam Beal and John Roden. John Roden's local. I've never seen him at one of my seminars. Never. So there's certain things that I saw in his match that would have helped him in his match that I've learned. That's been a feature on these seminars. So I don't want to be, I guess we're allowed to say the bad words because I heard Paul say the F word, but I don't want to be the asshole here. But if you love wrestling, if you genuinely love it, you don't come to my seminars. If you don't like me, don't go to my seminars. There's other ones around. I strongly encourage guys to attend good seminars because they are well worth the time, they're worth the effort, and they're worth the money.
All right. And to kind of piggyback off what Cato is saying, Cato, you know as well as I do, when we were coming up in the business, you never had opportunities like this. Guys did not go around and just spend a day talking to young wrestlers. The only way you got that knowledge is if you were lucky enough to share a locker room with them, and hopefully they were maybe a little bit chatty that night and felt like talking, or God forbid you actually got to work one of them and they spent some time with you, basically because they wanted the best match they can, and they don't want some greenhorn screwing it up for them. So we never had these kind of opportunities before that these guys who wealth of knowledge in the business have been everywhere that's anywhere will take the time to sit down, and yes, they're going to ask you for a few dollars because expenses and shit like that, and spend an entire afternoon teaching you about the wrestling business.
I mean, it's been great. I mean, the stuff that you like after a while, you feel like I said, I've been around it for 21 years now. You feel like, what else do I have to learn? And yet still, after every seminar, because I take notes during the seminar for myself, because I'm training guys. I want the guys that I'm training to end up being better. So I take notes, and it blows me away. Every single seminar, every single one that we've had,
Can I
I've
say
learned
something
stuff.
real quick? Can I say something real quick? Dude,
Absolutely, Bubba.
and I took that same seminar of Dr. Tom Pritchard, me and Dr. Feelgood, the whole way to Massachusetts. So I want to say, if any wrestler in Western Pennsylvania doesn't take these opportunities, they're crazy, because it costs hundreds and hundreds of dollars for us to go to Massachusetts for a whole weekend, where you just said your price and you got these seminars all the time. And I honestly can't see why guys aren't going to this. If we had this 20 years ago, no offense, it'd make me better than I would have been, and I would have relished the opportunities that was giving.
I'll tell you why. This is Jimmy the Hippie and I, if anybody knows him, we're talking about this tonight because we had training before this. And he pointed out, and I agree, that oftentimes guys that have been at this 5 or 7 years feel like, well, if I go to a seminar and I'm exposed as not particularly good at something, then maybe my reputation is ruined. I can guarantee you at these seminars, we're not going there to judge you. We're there to help Dr. Tom or Al Snow, wherever it is, me, we're just there to help you improve your game and make you a better in-ring performer. That's it. That's the only thing that we're working toward here. And so if you feel like, well, you know, I'm not great at this, I don't want them to know that I'm not great at this. This is not a live show. You're not in front of a live crowd. We're not going to, you know, you're not being exposed as bad at one thing. You're there to get advice from a guy who can get you to the WWE. Like, he is the greatest trainer in the world. Tell me I'm different.
I want to point something out, Cato, because I really respect the fact that you're bringing in all these guys to do these seminars. With the COVID situation, that's the only reason why I haven't partaked in any of it. But I did see on Twitter the first time that you brought Dr. Tom that you got one hell of an endorsement by Bray Wyatt. He shared the graphic that you had posted telling people you need to take part in this. And I mean, that's one hell of an endorsement right there, and one way to promote the seminar. So kudos to you, my friend.
I appreciate that. That you know, it was a big endorsement. We agree, but that was Dr. Tom, not me. He, you know, they have a real relation. He trained Bray Wyatt. You know what I mean? So just don't feel like you can't come because there's going to be judgment against you if you've been at this 10 years and you feel like, well, if they see, you know, I can't do this or that right, I'm going to look like a jerk. That's not the case, man. Like I said, 21 years at this, I am still learning things all the time. Jimmy the Hippie, who was an amazing athlete, he was an X Games athlete. He was in the X Games. He still comes to all these, and he's made mistakes in the ring, and he's been corrected. So, you know, don't feel like if that's the case, you know, and if it's a money thing, it's hard for me to wrap my head around that. If you can't invest $40 in the improvement and respecting the business to shell out $40 to improve, I'm not sure how to help you there. But these things are good. You will take something away from it. I guarantee it, and I promise. If you hate me, you don't got to talk to me. Don't even come shake my hand. I get it. Lots of people hate me. But you can come, and we have another guy, Mike. You can give him the money. You don't have to talk to me in any way. Just come and talk to Dr. Tom and learn from him, because it is well worth it.
You know, Cato, just to touch on something real quick, I think in RPW, you might be able to back me up on the year, because God knows I don't know years, but I think it was early 2000s. He did a seminar outside of High Tops under like a giant tent with a bunch of guys from a different company.
I was there.
Was you there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that was a fantastic seminar. And I think that, honestly, the thing about the learning aspect of things is, like you said, guys are afraid to mess up, and guys are afraid to look bad. But if you're not still learning, no matter how long you've been in this business, you're never going to make it anywhere. And, you know, and just to touch on John Roden, I know he's done a few seminars, actually. He's done he did Harley Race before Harley passed. He did his seminars, and he did Ultimate Dragon before, and he did a couple. But the thing that comes down to is, I think the mindset. It's the mindset. Like, you can't tell me, and I'm going to go on a limb, and I'm going to sound like a dickhead saying this, but tell me how many people in this area and not just this area, other areas, know how to work a fucking TV camera.
Guys that are coming to our seminars do, because it's one of
Sure,
the things that's been focused.
absolutely. And that's something that you need to learn if you want to make it to the WWE, because if you can't work a camera and know how to work the match the way the commercial breaks roll and everything else, you ain't getting picked up. It ain't 15 minutes of high spots and running around and doing every single move you can possibly get. If you can't work that camera and you can't put things together properly for a TV show live, then you're not getting picked up. And it's sad, but I think a lot of guys don't grasp that. They don't capture the real end of it is, hey, let's be realistic. It's more about that camera now than ever. There's no damn fans.
So I guess there was a message just come through, and I didn't answer it earlier, and that's my mistake. If somebody wants a spot reserved on this seminar, you can just message me directly or message through the Imagine Facebook page, and we can get you the information and get your spot saved. We are going to cap this thing at around 25, because otherwise it just, it becomes chaos. So if there's somebody that wants a spot, feel free to reach out. And this is going to be our last one, man. We're going to continue to do this because we want, my personal goal, again, is to leave the business better than what I found it. And, just this, to me, this is the way to do it. Like, I'm not a perfect trainer. I'm not a perfect booker. I'm not a perfect wrestler. But what I can do is have a school that has the best trainers in the world stopping by to teach guys to be better.
I just want to add something, Cato, if I can. I think what an issue may be for a lot of guys too is just their pride getting in the way of thinking that they, not necessarily that there's room to improve, but that a certain person can't teach them something. And I think that's a mistake that I made very early on in my career. I, had some opportunities to attend some seminars by a few different people, and ended up taking some poor advice from a veteran, thinking that this person couldn't teach me something. I think that everyone needs to be a little more humble and recognize that, that there are people out there, especially guys like Also, especially guys like Tom Pritchard, that have so much knowledge that they can pass down that, spending a few hours a day with them, you're going to come out of that seminar better than you walked into it. So I think guys just need to kind of get over that hurdle, leave their ego in check, be a little more humble and say, yes, I'm willing to learn, and this person has something to offer to me.
Well, and I don't want to jump over people, but I've been thinking about this as you've been talking, and I'll be really quick if you want to move on. But when I was up north, when I was in the Pittsburgh area, KCW was known everywhere for the guys that came out of the school. We had several of the people, Sebastian, Youth Gone Wild, lots of those guys would come and do our shows, and you could always tell that you ran things and did things the right way. And you're continuing that now with Imagine. So I guess I'll echo what everybody's saying. You can always learn something from somebody, and you should always try to put yourself in a position to be better, because even if you don't know something, you can learn and ask questions. It can't hurt to ask questions, and at least you can, grab someone's ear. And like everyone has said, this is one of the greatest trainers of all time. So kudos to you, Cato, and I applaud your efforts, first with KCW and now with Imagine.
I appreciate that. Some of those guys that came through KCW, though, if I knew then what I knew now, I just, man, I wish I could.
Isn't that all of us?
If I could have just gave them the knowledge I have now, I mean, man, it's crazy to think about how good some of those guys could have been. I think we all could look back on guys. I know Paul trained a bunch of guys too. If you could have had the knowledge 20 years ago that you have now, damn you, time, I hate you.
Sure.
Youth is wasted on the young.
Yeah.
Just to kind of put an exclamation point on all that, and kind of bite on a little bit of what you just said too, Cato, and about what some of the other council members have said. I think it's a combination of, I don't want to mess up. I think I'm too good for that kind of stuff. What's this old guy going to teach me?
Paul, if I may, Dr. Tom Pritchard humbled me just on how I walked in the ring when I did his seminar in Massachusetts. The first minute and a half I got in a ring, he broke me down. that quick. And I didn't know, but I was in the wrong all that time. And I learned from that, what Dr. Tom said. So I have an ego, but when he tells you something, you grasp it, gentlemen, and these younger guys need to take part in stuff that has never been done in the area. And hats off to you, Ken, because I wish we had this way back when, because it would have just made me a lot better, because I know I needed a lot of work. I admit to that. And, it was just, it's phenomenal.
Oh, Bubba, you and I had some pretty good matches, man. Remember that cage match?
I know, but these guys that are up and coming need to take part in this. And I know due to the COVID, like Potter said, it's kind of hard. But if the opportunity is there and you can make it to Altoona to see these greatest trainers in professional wrestling, you have to do this, guys. You have to do this to make – and if you're in Fight Underground, it would make you better in our company. So please take heed, gentlemen. So thanks, Ken, for doing that.
I appreciate it. Bro Hemoth, he was actually at our last seminar. And I'm trying to think who else may have been there. Tatiana Rose was there. So we do have a few of the guys starting to trickle in.
I've seen Beastman attend some years as well.
Beastman's been to a ton of them, yeah. And Beastman's already – there's a great example. Beastman is so good already, still hungry for knowledge.
And yeah, again, like the exclamation point I was going to put on all of this, with these guys and some of the attitudes and some of the reasonings why. I'm probably the oldest guy in the room here, 30 plus years in this business. Every single year, I've mentioned it before, I'm a lifetime member of the Cauliflower Alley Club. And every year, with the exception, unfortunately, of this year, due to the COVID situation, they have a reunion out in Las Vegas, Nevada. And we go every year, and they have seminars there. It's part of the package that you pay for your ticket for the week's events. Banquets and so forth, and seminars are part of that. And I will guarantee you, 30 plus years in the business, I am at least at 2 or 3 seminars every single year, listening to what people have to say. And it's not just about the wrestling business. It's about, not necessarily in-ring situations or things like that. It's about what life on the road was like. It's about how to be a promoter. They had a promoter seminar several years ago, and I learned things from that aspect of it that, 30 years in, you never thought of. It's like, wow, the stuff that seminars can teach you. Even an old guy like me learned something listening to these guys talk. I mean, some of them are my age, some of them are younger than me, and they have much more knowledge than I do just because of where they have been. And I've been to a lot of places, as many of the Fight Council. So these are great opportunities. Especially, it's a 2-hour drive to Altoona. I'm flying 2,000 miles to Vegas to go to seminars when there's seminars right up the road. So, if you're not taking advantage of it, shame on you. So we're going to move ahead into our next segment here, and we want to talk about a piece of video that has been going around the internet. One of our fighters who made their debut in Area 2 has recently found themselves in a situation where a viral video is going around of I can't call it anything else, but a suicide dive that went horribly wrong. And I'm talking about the colossal Mike Law. And there's much debate going on about this particular video clip. So we're going to debate that here tonight. And, risk versus reward. I tell you what, that risk is the one you never take, in my opinion. That was a foolish thing to do. He was lucky he walked away uninjured. He could have ended his career. My advice to Mike Law was, don't ever do that again, kid. That was just crazy. So I'm going to really get into it right now, because I'm going to start off with that controversial man himself. Cato, let's talk about this viral video clip of the colossal Mike Law.
I saw it quite a few days ago, long before it was even I knew it was going to be a topic here. And I watched it again this week. Today, actually. And, man, I know a lot of people are going to be surprised by this. I didn't see a problem with it. I know that it was very close to an injury, but this business has got to be exciting, man. He took a risk. It didn't pay off. I see dives like that on the regular. I think sometimes dives are overused. I think, the risk versus reward that you mentioned, and of course I would not do it because I'm 100 years old and near death, but for a guy like Mike Law, I don't know, man. If that guy would have been there and not brushed him aside, then he had a big advantage in that match, knocking that guy out with that big dive. So I don't know. It was fine for me. I know, my favorite podcaster, Jim Cornette, probably, I didn't get to listen to his review on it yet, but I will soon. And I'm sure he didn't like it. But hey, man, this business has to be somewhat exciting sometime. And he took a big chance. It didn't pay off. If this was if this was not a kayfabe situation that we're in right now, I'd have a different thought that I would really strongly discuss. So I don't know where we're at with that. Last time that I sort of broke kayfabe, everybody got mad at me. But my thought is, it was fine.
Well, this is a sport, regardless of what anybody wants to say. So, and I think that's where I was going with it. This is something I would not do in a competition, at least not in the way it went down. Maybe I'm going to lean a little bit towards breaking kayfabe, but I don't know. Did he know that guy well enough to pull that move off? I don't know. The guy didn't look trustworthy, that's for sure, for the way he landed. So
what if you jumped from the top rope and a guy moves? You know what I mean? Like, if you don't take those risks in a match, where's the excitement? Where's the fire? So I don't know, man. I thought that I see dives like that every single week on TV. So if you're going to police that particular one out of his arsenal, then let's just wipe them all out, which I'm good with too. F those stupid dives.
Yeah, like I said, time and place. And the one thing I am going to agree with you on, Cato, I think they're way overdone in our business right now, And I think that's kind of why I'm leaning towards the way I am, because it's just another dive. And it ended up being just another dive that went horribly wrong, in my opinion. So, Bubba Brewer, I'm going to bring you in here next and get your opinion on that video. Go ahead, brother.
Well, I know in my life I'll never do that. And I think it was a reckless move, but Mike Law's in shape to do those crazy moves. I wish they would just wrestle in the ring. That's what I want to see. I don't like the high flying stuff anyway. And the guy he was working just brushed him aside. I don't know what happened, but he's damn lucky, because anymore when you get hit in the head and do all this other stuff, you don't know the repercussions. I'm one of them. You just don't know. And it doesn't entertain me enough when they do those reckless spots. I don't know how you guys feel. Yes, sir.
When Rey Mysterio comes on the screen, do you turn it off?
I don't turn it off, but I really am not a high-flying guy. I'm 300-some pounds. I want to see people wrestle, I don't want to see the high-flying stuff. If I want to see high-flying stuff, I'll watch Spider-Man.
I think a good show has got to have all sizes. I mean, if you got a guy 170 pounds that can do some athletic stuff, I want to see that. You got two guys that are 300 pounds that can just want to punch each other in the face, I'll see that too. I think there has to be a good show has to be like a.
Well, now it has to. It's a little different now, and I see your point. And some of the maneuvers, you know what? Let's keep it in the ring. Go off the top rope. Go inside. Don't go outside. I could agree with that. I don't like taking it outside the ring to the high spots anyway. You know what I mean?
I'm okay with outside the ring if it's not beat to death, man. You can't. The problem is when I see every move, every show where the young bucks are flying to the outside every 8 seconds, I want to vomit.
I'm not into that. That's just me.
But once in a while it was okay. If it's a main event match and you're a good athlete to do it, if you're a good enough athlete, if you're a better athlete than me, can jump into the third row, I'll watch it once a show. I don't want to see it 8 times a show, but I'll watch it once a show.
But hey, and we see it all the time.
But here's the thing about all of this, and I understand, and I respect everyone's opinion, especially Paul, who served as a mentor for me. But let's talk about this. We talked earlier, and we spent so much time talking about Sam Beal's sizzle, and he lost. So what are we talking about? Are we talking about attracting an audience or wins or loss? Like I feel like we're going around and round in a bit. And when we look at what wrestling is now, everybody loves what they grew up with, right? Some people like the classic wrestling. If you liked Hulk Hogan, if you liked Ric Flair, if you liked, it depending, and your region too. If you grew up in Florida, you liked the Grahams and the Funks and the Briscoes, just about where you are. The point of where I'm going with this is wrestling to grow if you don't like what a Young Bucks or an AEW is doing, look at what's holding ratings right now. You're watching a WWE product every week go down in the ratings, decline in viewership, and you're watching a group grow at 18 to 49 market, that coveted demographic. We have to be careful in finding what will appeal is we're trying to stand out, and yes, there are too many dives, so people do have to up their game, but we're also trying to grow an audience for our company that's, when we were younger, we wanted the kids to come in. When I see my kids are 10 and 6 now, and when I put on something like WWE, they say it's the boring wrestling, put on AEW. So we have to think about what appeals to those kids, and we don't have the larger than life characters we might have had, like maybe Bubba, you were talking about a Big John Studd or an Andre the Giant, those big guys that were larger than life. Maybe we don't have that now, but we have to find a different thing to attract people in to the wrestling business to grow it. We have to adapt. We have to have another MTV Rock and Wrestling. I don't know what that is.
Well, Darren, I'm good with the Cody Rhodes match. I'm good with matches inside the ring. A little bit outside ring is okay, but just sometimes it's too much for me.
And I don't think it's so much as that I don't like the high flying. There's a big difference between high flying and high risk and absurdly high risk.
Here's where I want to step in for a minute, because wrestling right now, it's all about that GIF. It's all about that moment. And that's exactly what you see in that clip, is the moment of the dive, right? Here's the backstory behind it. You have Colossal Mike Law, who earlier in the night won the World One Heavyweight Championship. He's defending that title against a guy named Joey Ace, the guy who moved away in that match. Joey Ace is the ECWA World Heavyweight Champion. They're doing a merge of the title, so it's a title versus title match. So if you're in a title versus title match, you're going to go all out. You're going to go balls to the walls. You're going to do whatever you can to win that match. Maybe it's a dive out of nowhere. You want to win the match, so why not step to the side, have your opponent crash and burn? That's all I'm going to say. Sometimes there's a little bit more to the story than what that little 30-second clip does.
Yeah. I mean, that's a very solid point, RPW. Sometimes us older guys forget about the technology age, and yeah, that's what everybody wants. But again, I still can't emphasize enough, is that little 10-second clip worth your career? That's kind of where I have the problem with it. So Stacy Hunter, you've been waiting around here kind of patiently while the guys kind of hog the light here for a little bit. I want to get your thoughts on this magical dive that's taking over the internet right now.
I'm used to the guys talking over me all the time, so no big deal. I get where Mike Law was coming from. I mean, in the heat of the moment during a match, you're really not thinking about, are you going to get hurt? You're thinking about, can I win the match? Are the fans going to enjoy it? So the repercussions aren't really going through your head at that point in time. And even after the match, I know for me, I didn't take any higher. Obviously, my fat ass didn't fly. But when I was a manager, I was always getting involved in the ring, and I took how many sign shots to the head over the years. And I knew that because I was so hated by the fans would enjoy seeing it. And I was trying to do whatever I could to help either Dash or whoever else I was managing at that time win. So you're really not thinking about, like I said, the repercussions when it happens. So I see absolutely nothing wrong with it. I personally, like Bubba, I'm not a fan of the high-flying, flippy stuff, but everybody has their own thing that they like. We're all not going to agree on a genre or style of wrestling, so.
Well, that's very true. That's why, we're kind of getting to a point in the business where there is something for everybody, so that's kind of where we are in this day and age. So, Dean Radford, let's get you in here, brother. Let's talk a little bit about this clip.
So, all right. I would be a hypocrite if I said that I've never done some stupid shit in the ring. Okay, I think we've all done some stuff. I've jumped off the top rope to the outside, and guys, I'm a big guy, and it's a stupid move for a guy like me who's almost 300 pounds to jump off the top rope to the outside and hope that, I'm not going to eat shit, but I did. And that's why my hip sucks today. But it's one of those things where, Cato, it's okay. I'll break the wall down, brother. Here's the thing. All right. If I'm out there in the ring and it's me and that guy let me eat shit like that, I'm punching him in the face when I get in the back, realistically, because he may have given him the little nudge to help him through that chair, but if he would have broke his neck or anything like that, that dude's ass would have been grass. So just saying, it's all about safety. At the end of the day, we can hold kayfabe and we can do whatever, but if you're not out there to save each other's lives too when something goes fucking bad, then you're going to get your face pounded. I've seen council member Jake Garrett. I've seen Jake Garrett punch people in the face as soon as they walk through the curtain for being dumb. For being dumb, okay? If you don't expect to get punched in the face because you didn't help, almost save somebody's life when you're out there, we trust each other in that ring, okay? We trust each other to the point where if something happens, you got to help that other guy. And if you don't, fuck you. Get out of the business. Sorry, I'm throwing it out there. Now, back to kayfabe. It was a great spot, all right? Going through that chair, boom. It was a nice dive. I mean, we've all done stupid shit. And thankfully, Mike didn't get hurt out of that. But it's one of the things where that could have been ugly. But every time we've ever done a chair shot or every time we've ever done the spot where we throw the chair in the corner and we eat shit into it and we pop the seat off that thing, man, we're all taking bad risks and putting ourselves in a bad spot. So just thankfully he didn't get hurt doing that. I ain't got nothing against dives. I question a lot of it though, because you do see a lot of it. Like, you like Cato said, you watch TV, you see that every time you see one of the New Day, what's his name, Big E, he takes that spot through the ropes to the floor every day. Can you imagine doing that? I can't. Screw that. But yeah, I mean, I can't say I wouldn't do it. I mean, I've done my own share of dives, and for that night for Mike Law, it was a great idea. It was a great spot. He's going to pop the crowd. He's going to get a huge this and that and the other. Just thankfully he didn't get the thumbs up pop, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and I think that's where I'm really having trouble with this is that whole safety factor. When you watch a guy kind of olay his ass, I think that's where it's really sticking, really rubbing me the wrong way as far as what happened there. Because, yeah, you're right, Dean. We've all done stupid shit. That's why I got a titanium knee and the other one's pretty much dust, But, hey, we do what we have to do. So, Dash Bennett, I'm going to get you in here, and I'm going to get
one quick note before we go on. Sorry, I didn't mean to step on you, Dash. I know you step on other people, but I'll do the stepping this time. While we were talking about that high flying, I just want to remind you kids to get off my lawn.
Thank you, Cato. Said like a true old guy. All right, Dash, floor's yours.
I hate to agree with Dean, but I mean, he's right. We're all guilty of taking unnecessary risks out there. Mike Laws just so happened to be dive to the outside. How many of us have taken dumb, unnecessary risks with steel chairs or street signs? I don't have a problem personally with the move that he did. I mean, it's part of his normal arsenal. He's probably performed it hundreds, if not thousands of times successfully. This time it just ended up poorly. I did, Cato, actually get a chance to hear Jim Cornette's comments on the spot in the match, and really his takeaway was why take that unnecessary risk in front of pretty much no fans, which I really disagree with as well, because especially given the context that RPW provided, the stakes that were on the line. Regardless of how many fans you're performing in front of, you want to give them their money's worth each and every time. So I don't think that Jim Cornette's correct in thinking that, that you should hold back because there's not a big enough audience. You still want to give them their money's worth. For me, I think that Mike Law should have assessed the situation that he was in, been a little more aware of his surroundings, maybe just see how close the chairs were to his opponent. Understand that even if he would have landed on him, his opponent would have went crashing into this chair, so he probably would have went along with it. Maybe do a different move in that situation. A nice baseball slide to the baseball slide drop kick would have sent his opponent flying into them. He would have been unscathed. That's just my opinion. I think he could have assessed the situation better and put himself at less risk. But momentum was going, the stakes were high, and I get it.
Yeah, and Jim Cornette, sometimes he's battier than batshit crazy, and sometimes he's got a lot of knowledge. But I have to disagree with the number of fans, because we've all said it before: 50 or 5,000, you want to give them the show. So one interesting thing is, if you tune in to the Indie Mayhem show this Friday night at 10 p.m. on IndieWrestling.us's Facebook page, Mike Law will be on that show to further discuss this topic. So if you want to get a little in-depth into the mind of the man who actually did the dive, make sure you tune in to the Indie Mayhem show Friday at 10 p.m. on IndieWrestling.us's Facebook page. So we're going to move on to our last part here, and we're going to discuss a little bit more about Mike Law, as Mike Law is going to be involved in this week's Underground Showdown, and he is going against the mystery man himself, the Masked Icon. We talked a little bit about the Masked Icon before Area 2 started. I said he was kind of the wild card for Area 2 because nobody really knows who he is. So since that's the case, I believe, Stacy Hunter, he's your guy. Kick it off.
Well, yeah, he's my guy. And I told you guys over the course of time here that he's traveled the world. He's held championships in multiple federations. And yeah, you guys don't know who he is. So there's really no way for Mike Law to prepare for him. And I think he has an advantage.
Stacey?
What? Oh, Lord, what do you want?
We know who it is.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
You know, absolutely. You don't even know that your team's falling apart. How the hell do you know who he is?
Well, yeah, I know. I can say one thing without giving away too much about the match itself. I saw who else was there that night. Somebody that I know really well, somebody who I've seen many times before out west. So I think I may have an idea, but I'm not going to tip the hand just yet. So, we're gonna see what goes down here as far as that goes. So
you guys can just keep guessing. You have no idea who he is.
I just think Dash is disillusional. He probably don't know.
Well, we know Dash is delusional.
Yeah.
It's anything to jump in and try and put himself over, so it's not a big deal. We're getting kind of used to it. So, RPW, your man, Mike Law, he's got to go up against the unknown, basically, brother.
Yeah, you're absolutely right there. Dash is right as well. As we don't. He knows. I don't know. We really don't know who this is. It's kind of hard to prepare for a match when you don't know what tapes to watch, what videos to look up. What I do know, Mike Law, traveler, he is in the best physical shape possible, so he is ready for anything. The clip that we talked about previously, that just shows he's ready for anything. So whoever you have, Stacy, that's fine. Line him up, and we'll watch him fall to Mike Law.
I'm not taking anything away from Mike Law. Remember, I used to manage him way back when. He's an awesome competitor, but he is not able to prepare for this match because he does not know who he's preparing for.
And this is where I got to kind of agree with Stacy on the match. And no offense to you, RPW, or to Mike Law himself. Again, I said it before, it's the wild card factor. And if by what I did see in Area 2 and who I saw there, if this is who I think it is, shit, Mike Law's in trouble, brother. That's all I could say.
We're ready for anything. That's what he trains for. He trains for bigger, badder. faster, slower, it doesn't matter. He's ready.
Yeah.
He'll be ready.
I have to say, I saw Dash was, and everybody's been catching me up. I took a look at the person in the clip, and I think I could tell who it is. I won't say anything, but when you just know somebody, you know them, and I think it's a great surprise if it's who I think it is, and I think a lot of people really underestimate what Stacy Hunter could do. RPW is a great wrestling mind, but look at what Stacy did with Devin Devine, Dash Bennett, countless other wrestlers over time, led them to heavyweight championships. No small feat, right? So I really, if it's who I think it is, and it's looking at that, I have to think I have an idea, and given the background information that people have shared with me, I really think I know who it could be. I won't spoil it, but man, that's going to be an excellent match. I look forward to seeing it.
Man, I
Oh,
hope
I'm
it's
with
Paul
you.
Atlas.
I was looking for Stacy's pillow just as much as anybody else, and there were some interesting characters there. And if I saw who you saw, because I know a lot of people on the West Coast too, I'm with you. It's Stacy. If it turns out to be what it is, I'll give you props.
I'll be
Yeah,
honest, I wasn't paying attention. I was
That's because
doing
you were
other stuff.
watching the Steeler game.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, thank you.
I think they were
I don't
almost
know.
they were almost losing by then. You were kicking walls or something.
I don't know.
I just can't wait to prove Ian's wrong again.
And Dean, yeah, I know you know some of the guys that I know from out west, and yeah, I think you were looking at who I was looking at.
Absolutely.
And I know there's an alliance there that is formed over the last year or so between these two gentlemen. So that's why I think we got a handle on it right now as to who it could possibly be. Cato, let's bring you in and get your thoughts on this upcoming match this week. You got Mike Law, Colossal Mike Law, who a lot of us have seen and dealt with and obviously seen clips of, including this one of the dive. And we got a guy by the name of the Masked Icon who nobody really knows anything about. So what are your thoughts?
My hope is that it's you under a mask, Paul Atlas. I think that'd be amazing. But
That would be.
we live in a time of YouTube, and when you're on YouTube or Facebook Watch, you can find almost anybody on there, and you can watch their matches, and you can study what they do and figure out strategy. So from that standpoint, Mike Law is at a huge disadvantage. He has no way of scouting his opponent. He has no way of sorting out a strategy, and as a result, if this Masked Icon is any type of tough guy, if he's any type of athlete, he's at a huge advantage. I mean, could you imagine if the Steelers were playing the Chiefs and the Chiefs had no game footage to watch the Steelers? The Steelers would be at a huge advantage. So that's essentially what we have here.
Yeah, I mean that's what I've been saying. I said it in the initial weeks. It's that wild card factor.
Wild card, bitches.
That's it, brother. Dash Bennett crying here in the back about his screen time. We keep cutting him out. You got something to say, Dash? What's going on?
All I'm going to say is, knowing who the Masked Icon really is, I think the fans are going to be in for quite a treat and quite a surprise. This is going to be a match that I'm really looking forward to seeing, and everyone else should be too.
You don't know who it is. You just think you
Stacey,
what?
you gave it away before without knowing it. So sorry.
No, I didn't.
Let's not give Dash too much credit.
I mean, that would require him actually thinking about something besides himself. So I don't know if that's actually possible, but
And cake.
well, let him eat cake. So
Cake.
all right. So I'm going to touch on one last thing here before we wrap up. We've gone a little longer than usual this week, but there was a lot to talk about, a lot of guests on here. We had a situation that we slightly discussed last week. Video footage we saw of Justin Idol pretty much whining to Brandon Kay about not being in Area 2. talking about pulling his man, Zach Thomas, out of Area 2 and putting himself in, being the team captain. We had some discussions on what exactly it would take for that to happen. Can Justin do that? So after pondering that whole thing this week, basically what it comes down to is if Justin Idol wants to remove Zach Thomas from Area 2 and put himself in, there's only one way and one way only, and that is he's going to have to get Brandon Kay to agree to trade him to himself. I know that sounds crazy, but that is what it comes down to. He is a team member. He is also a team leader. So if he wants his own rights, he's going to have to do a little negotiating with Brandon Kay. And we hope to hear a little more about this situation possibly next week. We're going to see if we can get these two guys together.
That happens, Paul. Would Thomas be cut? I'll pick him up right now.
Well, Bubba. I mean, Thomas could be the guy that trades. He could trade Zach to Brandon for himself.
Okay, well, I'll be
So
waiting.
that's a possibility. I mean, there's several ways. I mean, it depends on who Brandon wants, I guess, because it's the trade is going to have to go between Idol and Kay.
I know,
So-
but if you got to drop somebody, I'm picking
Hey,
somebody up. If I
I
can.
give you props. You're always scouting, Bubba. You're always scouting. So
I
it's
need
a
all the
valid,
help I can get.
it's a valid question. You know, it's a valid
I
question.
won't- I won't
Truer
say
words have
it
never been
first.
said, Bubba.
Oh, that you're a winner? No, that word's never been said, Dash. That you're a winner.
I think he said wiener.
Well, that too.
I think we talked about his guy winning like 42 minutes ago. Was that the beginning of the conversation?
You know, well,
I
that
can
that
talk
your guy?
more about John Roden winning if you'd like.
And hey, did you give him your finisher, that really good move that you used to win the PWX title with? Was that the
Darren.
one?
Yes.
I
Yes,
know,
we
really.
did.
Oh, wait,
I
we
can
got
talk
two
more about
bookends.
that if you'd like.
Oh, no, we
Darren,
got two
Darren.
bookends now.
Darren, what you're going to have to realize with this council is half the time is Dash putting himself over. You know, I mean, I thought
Because
we were here
God
to put.
forbid he puts his guys over.
Well,
Hey,
I
listen,
thought we were here to put the talent over. but-
I lived with it. I know, but I will say, look, and just like I said, I'll call it as I see it. Stacey Hunter is a great mind for wrestling, and it has a winning track record to prove it. Right? When we talk about what happened, Dash gave his guy a game plan, and he won. I mean, I don't know what else. You don't go to the Super Bowl. We don't go say, the Patriots played the Seahawks, and the Seahawks played a really great game, but the Patriots won. We don't spend 20 minutes talking about how great the Seahawks were, do we?
I'll spend 20 minutes talking about who has the most T-shirts sold. I
Yeah.
don't care what brand it is.
Hey, winners sell T-shirts.
Money, money,
Loser
money,
T-shirts-
baby. I love
Loser
it.
T-shirts end up in Zimbabwe on the backs of little boys.
Oh well.
We're
Yes.
talking about t-shirts. Check out my new t-shirt.
Ooh,
Available
Look
now.
at
What a fancy boy.
shameless
chronically
plugs.
excellent. Chronically excellent.
Thank
We're
you.
always
Thank you,
here for
Darren.
shameless plugs. So we're going to wrap this up for this week. And I'd like to thank all the council members. Welcome back, Cato. Welcome to the council, Darren Smythe. And once again, my regulars who are always here with me, RPW, Dean Radford, Stacey Hunter, and that Dash Bennett guy. I would like to wrap up. Don't forget to watch this week's match up. The Masked Icon going up against Colossal Mike Law, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday across our social media platforms. And we will be back here next Thursday night, 8 o'clock, to discuss, as we do each and every week, the week that was and the week that will be in Fight Underground. Thank you all for tuning in. Good night. See you next week.